So we are effectively racing right now, but we will have a side-by-side rolling start 2 by 2, even though the clock is going. Bit of drama last year into turn 1. Let's see what happens here. It's round number 3 of GT World Challenge Asia, powered by AWS. Race 1 in Mandalika, Indonesia, and an Indonesian on the pole position. Big pressure on Andy Dung's shoulders. He's in the 96 silver machine. It's a non-Evo car, that car, so slightly less adjustment. And it's quickly going green, and I think Sean Galail's got a good start into the lead of the race. Akish Nandi looking up the inside of Frankie Chen, but loses a position into the braking zone of turn number 1, and all 3 silvers are cleanly through the first turn. Then it's 3 AMs in the 3 Porsches. 5th, 6th and 7th. Anthony Liu trying to muscle his way into 4th position. But Akash Nandi needs to defend there. Side by side for the lead of the race, I think, as they came through the sweeping turn number 4. But it didn't quite change. And maybe a bit more confidence from Andy Dung in these first couple of corners. He's crawling all over the back of the Indonesian.
Yeah, he's all over him here. So maybe he's going to think about a move into T10. But looks like maybe some aero wash has caused him to drop back from Sean a little bit.
These fast sweepers really do affect these highly aerodynamic cars these days. The old GT3 cars that didn't really worry about aerodynamics have gone now. And because we are so fast in the majority of the circuit, you start to change the balance of the car when you're sitting under the rear wing of another machine. I think Andy Dung may have felt that. Track limits are going to be monitored throughout this 50-minute race, so you can't run off the circuit too much. And a bit of hassle here for Andres Pato, who hasn't got the confidence. Dean Chen looking up the inside to try and get past the 89 of Tony Moran, but there isn't space on the entrance to this penultimate turn. There's lots of different lines to it, but ultimately Dean Chen having to take a different line, perhaps try and slingshot, hasn't worked out for him.
No. As the top 3 starting to gap, but looks like Anthony's got some damage.
Anthony Liu has damage to the Porsche's front left corner. The number 37 bodywork needs to really just fly off. That would be much better, because leaving it like that, the race control will not like it. He needs to find a bollard, perhaps, so he can knock it off or something like that. Doesn't seem to be affecting his performance, and Akish Nandi is not getting away from him, but race control will instantly have a flag out for Anthony Liu, which means an unscheduled pit stop, which means a very, very hard day for the rest of the race. It's weird to see something like that, maybe a little bit of contact already, but the whole piece is basically going to come off as one.
Yeah, it looks like it's falling off.
Because Galail's had 3 years in BMW, and Anthony Liu comes into the pits. That is a black and orange flag, so race control did decide to give it to him. He has a full length of the pit lane. He'll stop. It won't take long for the mechanics to take that off, or they might try and tape it on.
I'm also wondering what they're going to do. Oh, wow.
Oh, it's now ripped off the bumper as well. That is bad news. So it really does need to be taped back on, if they can. You can't be driving a car without a bumper and a wing, and big lumps of yellow tape have already been prepared, but this is not an easy fix, and now he really will be wanting a safety car to rescue any chance of success in this race. This feels like, ever since 2023 where Anthony Liu won the championship, it basically feels like how it's been for him since. He's been called Sean Galail. Oh, we've got the Porsche that was the reason for our red flag, and we've also got Brian Lee with what looks to be a puncture on the front left corner. Has there been contact between those 2 cars? They're both off at a similar part of the track. Brian Lee's down at turn 10, and the Porsche was at the inside of turn 9. Got the leaders coming towards that zone now. Let's have a look. This is a flat out part of the circuit, Sandy.
Yeah. Oh, wow.
Wow.
Wow, I don't know. That was so weird. I mean, you should be flat into that corner, so I don't know how the BMW managed to close up so much.
And I think the Porsche may have just about stayed out of the barrier. That is lucky. But quite big damage from both of them, and a very weird accident.
Yeah, could this be a safety car?
Well, preferring for a full course yellow, that's the first thing they'll do. And if we do full course yellow for too long, then they will always go safety car afterwards. So full course yellow is confirmed. And I can't really... let's have a quick look. It wasn't on the last lap. It must have been whilst we were still racing, a mistake from Dean Chen. And certainly a mistake from Brian Lee, who walks away disappointed with suspension damage. It does mean that we won't see Max Hussein. Here it is again. He's actually quite far alongside as well.
Yeah, he was pretty much. Okay.
Feels like from on board.
Okay.
Yeah, he's got a problem because he's been passed from the outside. Not second car has passed him. We can't hear. That would be really good to be able to hear the engine noise. And then, yeah, needed to get off the track really. The 18 car.
Yeah, I agree. So that's a disappointment then for Okazaki, and damage to the right side of that car. Of course, these cars have come directly from Sepang in their containers over here, and then they'll be heading off next to Shanghai. So limited spares, although Porsche, of course, bring a decent spares support, but we are on an island. We are in pretty much the middle of nowhere, so it's a little bit tricky. Yeah.
And I'm sure they'll get that car out for tomorrow, but the question more is why the car slowed down in the first place.
Yeah, correct. Lining everything he could, and their safety car is in.
Safety car in. Didn't even notice that the lights were out. We're back to racing, and it's a change for second position, a challenge. Frankie Cheng and Akish Nandi going side by side. Cheng's been slightly caught out, like me, and holds on to third position. Nandi trying to go around the outside. He was on the button. He was on the money. And Ben Porter in a good fight here, trying to get past Ron Huang for fifth position in that AM machine. It won't be long before pit window is open, but at least they're going to have one lap of running, I think, for these AM drivers before they come into the pits. Pit lane window will open in 45 seconds, so they're all going to come into the pits, surely.
Yeah, this lap will be everyone diving into the pits.
All the silvers have stayed out, and the first of our Pro-Ams has come into the pit, so hasn't really compromised the Pro-Am category, but look how busy it's going to get. There's even side by side as Vutakorn into Pruvasak tries to hurry up the number 5 BMW. Anthony Liu already making up 2. And yes, he does. It's the time which you enter the lane to the time you exit the lane, not necessarily the stationary time. But look how many cars he could get mixed up with here.
Whoa.
It's so busy trying to release your car. Again, the 918 there, trying to find a slot to slot into. Klaus Bachler.
Trofeo, quite a bit more power than we have in these GT3 cars, but we see, looks like the BMW is going to have a look into turn 10. Can he do it around the outside?
Jesse Krohn on the outside of Liu Kaishen. Needs to just feed him close to the gravel. Oh, Liu being very, very kind to Jesse Krohn there. And again, looking around the outside. Liu just needs to squeeze him. Give him some more contact. Was so kind to him for 2 corners. And yet there's still contact between the 2 cars. And Jesse Krohn is going to be so annoyed by that. At least they're still running. And actually the Ferrari finding some tarmac somewhere that will join back up to the racetrack. He's going to be... going a very long way round. So frustrating. Meanwhile, here's Sean. And Goliath is back on the tail of Jackson Evans again. And suddenly, it's for second position.
Wow. So quick, it can change.
We'll have a look at that replay in a second as the AM car of Tony McPherson rolls down pit lane. He isn't going to be at the head of the field. It must have been a slightly slow stop for Amac. And unfortunately, he's going to drop quite far down the leaderboard. It's still going to be easily the AM lead, but look at that for a battle of cars, including Luke Hartog there, tucked behind Kim Yasato, Brendan Leach in there, Klaus Bachler in there,
Akish Nandi's in there in 10th position. Wow, that is a battle. And Tony McPherson is not the fastest guy to get up to speed, and they're all going left and right, trying not to make any contact with him. Such a difficult moment. And Tony spins. It was always going to be overwhelming for the Australian, and luckily keeps it out the barrier, but you can imagine what that would have been like. His mirror's absolutely full of pros.
Oh, that wouldn't have been fun.
Understatement of the century, Sandy. I mean, literally, that is like being in a GT4 car with GT3 cars swarming around you, because he didn't, and also didn't have warm tyres.
No, he had cold tyres and 20 cars coming at close that gap, so he has a little bit of tyre left to fight at the end of the race.
Here's a big queue of silvers with actually Seppänen is at the head of that field. So rather than Seppänen getting on the tail of Kondo and Liang Jiatong, he's actually dropping into the clutches of Jesse Krohn, although Krohn's going to be removed out of that because he is being given a drive-through penalty for causing a collision. Now that is interesting. Definitely worth seeing again, because it seems just absolute and race control as to exactly why that penalty exists. The 89 definitely clear, so they come into the pit. So it looks as though Pro-Am could go the way of Brendan Leach in the 72 right now. And that would be a remarkable performance considering their pace in Sepang yielded no top 3 results in Pro-Am or in the overall. So it's actually, sorry, it's been converted now to a 5-second time penalty, the 918. So that suggests to me that it's a different type of penalty.
Yeah.
We've got big festivities, 180 musicians playing on the grid. So it is going to be a big festival atmosphere for Sean's second race. He's starting, I think, on row 3, as into the pits comes the Adeli Fong-driven number 13, and that is out of 4th in Silver Am. But he's not going to drop any further because the other Silver Am is out of the race. So driving standards, that's a track limit infringement. Too many track limit penalties. If we'll see any more doing that before the race is up. You need 5, don't you?
Yes, I believe so. I think 4th is the final warning, and then 5 is the drive-through.
So yeah, you get to 4th warning, and actually track limits for car 13 was quite recently, and all of a sudden then the 5th comes in. So if you are watching the race control screen and you can see anybody on a 4th warning, then in the next lap, in the next minute, they might still driver.
Yeah, it certainly is, and today has certainly showed that. Mega pace throughout his whole stint.
This would be James Yu Kwai's 5th victory, having first taken 2 wins back in 2023, another in 24 and another in 25. And there are not many in the field that have taken 5 victories in GT World Challenge Asia. He is such the quiet fellow. And you see him in the garage, he's usually on his own. He's not tends not to be standing up and making a big hoo-ha. He's very, very quiet. But behind the wheel, he is an absolute monster. And we've seen some incredible overtakes over the years from James Yu Kwai. And he's now victory number 5 to the Chinese driver, alongside longtime partner Frankie Chen. It's James Yu Kwai, and it's a Phantom Global Racing double, an Audi Sport double, with Jackson Evans coming over the line in 2nd position and winning Pro-Am. Here comes the winner in Silver Am, Liang Jiatong. It promised to be a great race from Craft Bamboo, and it has been. 2nd for Elias Seppänen, I think, on the last corner there. And Kondo dropping to 3rd in Silver Am. And then Nandi Bakla, 5-second penalty has been given to him. Don't think it has been applied yet.
Fantastic job, because he didn't let anyone pass, so it made the job for Jackson easier, and they've secured a 1-2 for Audi Sport.
There's the celebrations, 30 degrees, high humidity, thumbs up, but it does look as though James has worked hard today. And there is Frankie Chen Kung Fu. Big smiles on the face. Congratulated by Benjamin, our championship manager down there. I have to say, that's so cool to see. Andreas Pato on the left-hand side, congratulating his new partner for this year, Jackson Evans. They win the Pro-Am category as well as being on the overall podium. And there are the faces of Dean Chen and Liang Jiaitong for Silver Am victory and the 22 Origin Motorsport winning in